John, did you guys decide a follow-up time? I had to leave to take my son to the doctor.
Yes, we actually did. It's going to be 1 o'clock on Monday.
One on Monday. Okay.
Hopefully that works for you. All
I'll
right.
probably be in the car, but make it home for most of it.
That's all right. All right. We got a couple more joining here. We got our recording going. All right. So what did you guys think of the easy training?
It was awesome. So
Yeah, it's
exciting.
exciting.
Oh my God.
Pretty good stuff. I kind of just after we were done, I just chilled out, set it aside, but then when I got back in this morning, I had just a long list of shit for Becky to do. So we're back in production. But yeah, I'll show you. I hadn't really tested out the functionality inside WordPress yet. So I think Gregory was able to get his going this morning and actually
Uh,
update his site.
she's operational, sir. She's all good. All I gotta do is do the logo, and I got timed out, so I have to wait for my cooldown period.
Oh, okay.
But that was
Yeah.
because before you and I got online this morning, I had done all those. I got all the other emails, but the last one that you helped me with. So
Okay.
that's why all the time gone. But I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually one of the things I had Becky do this morning was fix my logo because I noticed when we did something, I had it changed and then all of a sudden it looked good, but it was a little fuzzy. It's not crisp and clear. And I told her, I said, the way the rest of the site looks like, we can't have a fuzzy logo. It's just not working for me. So it was funny. She went in and she put Violet to work, the art director, and it was funny because she kind of scolded Violet for letting that through. She's like, "You should know John's not going to go for that." So it was really pretty funny. Oh, classic stuff. But anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I didn't know how that was going to go. I put that whole event together kind of last minute, and I had literally I walked into that with nothing. I didn't have a PowerPoint. I didn't have anything. And about an hour before I started the meeting, I uh, I basically told Becky, I said, "Hey, I'm doing a training on easy. Can you make me some like at least make me some worksheets to give out?" And she whipped that stuff up. So it was pretty good. Pretty good stuff. All right. Anybody got anything you want me to get into today? I did want to let you guys know we've updated the site, and if anybody does want to go on the boat trip, there's one spot left for August and two for September. So if you want that, I don't want you to miss out. Mr. Tim, go ahead.
Well, I texted you with my problem, and I just wanted to know if you could do a rundown showing the generic way with Kartra, because I cannot get my bot in easy to connect to Kartra. That keeps hitting a error wall.
Okay.
And
I kind of had the same thing when I was playing around with it. And originally, it says you can use API access. So I went in and you have to create an API in
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
It has to get approved and all that. Did you get your API approved?
Yep, got my API
Okay.
approved and everything. Yeah.
Okay. So if you pass that info over, they should be able to access that API wall. If they can't, what you want to do is ask them why. Ask what the block is. Um, it might be your IP might be blocked at Kartra. So find out what the exact problem is. And then if it requires a support ticket to Kartra, have them write it for you. So because
Okay.
they'll know the exact details to pass over. Um, I would try that first, and there's other access too. Like I had to create a Becky user inside of Kartra.
It mentioned something like that. I was wondering if that's the way you went.
I did. Yes, I did actually both ways. So I created a user. I created like my Becky has an email address. She's got her Telegram account. She's got the whole enchilada, so I can communicate with her in many different ways. And with the email address, because she's got to have an email address for you to create a user in Kartra for her.
Boy, that's easy. I can do that in seconds, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you want to do that, create that. And I think there's certain things in Kartra where it's going to require the user to actually do it, and other things that will require the API.
Okay.
Like, and I have to look because I've got my agent for Kartra is called Karina, and I had her taking inventory of my Kartra, so I know like what all the old assets are, so I can clean it up. And I haven't had a chance to go in and check and see what the problem is, but it's flagging me for interaction. So I have to go in and either give her approval or find out what the block is or whatever. But use the agents will find a way.
No, it tried to it made I think 7 or 9 attempts last night, and it just still could not get through. And I just said to it, I said I'm gonna call my mentor tomorrow. I'm gonna ask him how he did this.
Well, here's the way you need to really talk to them is it's training.
Yeah.
Like if they're failing and they're doing the same thing over and over and over, that's just insanity. They don't know what that looks like, so you need to tell them.
Mhm.
Don't keep trying the same thing. If it doesn't work, let's look at what's the workaround. Let's get
Mhm.
creative. Make them actually work. They
Well, I mean that hits me on my other problem, and I don't know. I'm just curious how many times you did this, because I have burned up through and I have the $100 on Claude a month, and I have burned through the 5 hour thing 7 times in the past 48 hours.
wow, just on getting Kartra hooked up.
Just trying to get things set up in there.
Ah.
But this morning when I did my brain dump, it said, "Oh my," I mean, it hit me with, "Oh my God, and it gave me like 70 things I have to go get for it." I'm not saying I have a lot of shit, but I've written a lot of people's coaching programs over the years.
Well, that's the other thing too with especially with agentic AI,
Mhm.
that you have to keep your operation clean or you will burn a lot of tokens.
Well, I assume once I get it set up, it won't burn as much for this. I think this is all in the
Sure.
setup. I mean, because yeah, it's having me, gosh, I have like, 7 hard drives full of videos. I'm trying to, and it's like, and then all these programs that I've done, and then I'm having to tag the programs as to which ones were mine, which ones were clients,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Well,
I don't have them organized. Yeah.
yeah, no, that is going to take a lot of credits to do all that and manage all that stuff. Because that's what I did. That's how I created all my knowledge bases. I had it
Hmm.
transcribe literally 3 decades worth of my content.
Hmm.
And and then once it got it into one big massive pile, I had it go through and segregate it, separate out like, what are the act calls, um and even inside act we talk about so many different things. Like on these calls, sometimes it's on different products, sometimes it's on different business practices, sometimes it's directly related to act. So I had it segregate all those out and create Q&A databases for each segment.
Hmm.
Like it's got a Q&A now for each product I have.
Okay.
It's got a
I mean,
Q&A for each
just,
program.
just tell me, you went through the headache that I'm going through. I'm
Oh
sitting
yeah,
here
yeah.
thinking John made this sound simple and easy. I'm the simple, easy guy, and this isn't simple and easy. This is racking my brain here.
Well, it shouldn't rack your brain. The whole point of this is let it rack its brain for you.
Um,
but the thing is, if and you know, in the training, I did that 2 day training over the last couple of days. I don't know if you were listening in on that, but that was one of the biggest points of this is they call this artificial intelligence, and that's not really the right phrase because it's not intelligent.
No, it's not. No.
What it is it's capable.
Hmm.
When you add the intelligence to it, then it's unstoppable. But you literally have to give it your AB thought process. It's taking your intelligence. And if you don't give it any, it's going to remain dumb. It's highly capable though.
Hmm.
So, like I said, if it's trying something over and over and over and it doesn't get it, ask it, obviously this is not the right way. What are we doing wrong? Let's figure this out and make it work. Don't let it just keep burning credits doing the same thing.
Well, for the most part, I don't think it was doing the same thing. I think it was, okay, we're going to try this. Okay, now we're going to try. I
Oh
mean, it
yeah.
kept telling me, because I was sitting there watching it, because I mean, this was like 11:30 last night. And like,
Well,
I don't give up on some. Yeah.
yeah, no, sometimes what'll happen is their docs will be out of date. So
Mm.
it's going in, it's reading the current docs, and if they're out of sync, it's trying stuff that's not working, and then it works its way around it. But if you get to a point and you say, okay, have you exhausted all the possibilities here? Um, what's really blocking us? Why is Kartra blocking us? And if I put in a support ticket, what do I need to tell them?
Okay.
And it'll write the support ticket for you. I had this with one of my sites that was hosted on Nexus. It was trying to
Oh,
do something on Nexus, and it was an htaccess file, believe it or not,
okay.
which that's a simple thing.
Yeah.
I gave it this instruction to do this htaccess file for a redirect, and it wasn't working. And I looked at it, it looked right to me. I couldn't, I'm like, I can't help you with this. Try something different. It tried like 3 different times, and I said, do you have a viable way around this to make this work? And it said, I do not at this point. And I said, okay, what are the potential blockers that this could be? And it asked me, where it was hosted, what kind of a hosting account it was. I told it was Nexus. And then it said, oh, it's probably, I don't even remember what it said. They probably have this at the server level. They said this needs to be redirected at the server level. So it wrote me the support ticket. It said, send this to Nexus and they'll fix this for us.
Mm.
And I did, and it was right on the money. And Nexus sent me a thing back with the workaround for their particular hosting environment. And they actually updated the htaccess file for me, and it worked. Nexus fixed it. So what I did was I went back to my bot and I said, here was the response from Nexus. Here's the new htaccess file. I want you to learn from this. So in the future, I have a lot of sites on Nexus. In the future, I want you to know how to do this. Lock it in as a skill set.
Oh, wow.
So it'll never have that problem again. But it's just like anything else, in life, we've got a learning curve to everything we do. And
Mhm.
then our brain automatically locks things in as a skill set. It's like when you learn to ride a bike, you'll never have to learn that again. Even if you get on a bike 30 years from now, your skill set's locked in. You're going to jump on that bike and go. It's not going to be like the first time when you fell down and skinned your knee and bumped your head and all that for, a week before you got it figured out.
Well, for the record, all right, I had a couple thousand miles on my motorcycle before I dropped it in the driveway. All right, John, I appreciate that. All right, you can go on and help somebody else. I appreciate it, man.
All right, no problem. Patty, go ahead.
And thank you. I have a son and he needed to create like a website. He was looking around. I'm like, say less because I could do this in easy. So I created the website for him, but how do I now, do you offer the ability to host on your server? I thought you said something like that.
Yes, I
Can
do.
you talk about that,
And
please?
I have hosting accounts. I can do you is it a WordPress site?
Well, it's a site I created, an easy one, so I don't
Okay.
know.
So it's probably not. It's probably just an HTML site. Yeah, I can set up a cPanel hosting environment for you.
Okay.
And then you just pass it the environment variables, the username, password, and it just does its thing.
Right, cool. And then how do I do that? How do I order that?
Just send me an email and the domain, and I'll get you set up.
Okay, cool. All right, that was question number one. The second one is around the whole so I went to an event, I talked about Easy One using your comment, and it definitely works. And for like send me more information. So the affiliated code I got from Easy One though goes directly to the shopping cart. So the user doesn't have contact. So
Oh,
what
okay.
I right? So would I have to create a landing page? And so I could do
Yes.
a video about it, and then I could do a screenshot of their pricing because each one of those goes to the cart for that specific product. Is that how I do it instead?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Okay. And then
So let
I'm sorry,
me
go ahead.
let me see here. I'll show you an example of what that looks like.
Thank you.
See if I can get all these windows out of my way. God, Zoom has all kinds of stuff in the way. Okay. And they love to hide the share button from me at this point. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I have that same thing. I've got an affiliate with Easy,
Yep.
and I'm calling it Dominion AI.
Okay.
So if you go to the Dominion AI, this is the Meet Your Internet Dominator Angels, and it introduces like what I've created out of this thing. It's got the video that I made with the demo of the product,
Yep.
and then it's got some info, and then it's got the solo, the starter, and the scale, and the buttons, and those are my affiliate buttons.
So the thread card. Okay, got it. Perfect.
So that's what you want to do. You want to create a
Yeah.
landing page and put the context on there and sell it, because you're really just getting the buy buttons.
Yes.
So it's your job as an affiliate to go ahead and sell it.
Promote it properly. Okay,
So
perfect. Okay, that
that's
answers
what.
that. Um, and then the other thing was the whole chief of staff. When you talk about your chief of staff and everything she can do you have anything around the best practices? Because I feel like you've maxed out yours in such a way where it has the email and the WhatsApp and all these other things that I hear you here and there talk about. But I'd love to get more context as to what is it that you set up so
Well,
that you're really turbocharging her.
I honestly feel like I'm just getting started,
Oh
really,
my God.
with the capabilities. I really literally think, oh my God, this can do everything. And there's so many things on my wish list now. And she just accomplishes it as fast as I can say what I want. It's like I am moving at the speed of thought now because I'm no longer the bottleneck. It
Yeah.
used to be, I'd think about cool stuff and then I would think, oh, yeah, well, I have to do that. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound so good anymore. Put it aside. But now, I mean, literally, I think about something that I want, I tell her, and the next thing I know, it's done.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like a whole new world that I woke up in. But the first thing, I'll tell you what was really, really cool. The first thing that I did with her was I set up a Telegram because I thought that was just the coolest thing ever that I could be in the car and I could hit the microphone and say, "Hey, Becky, I forgot to send this email. Can you do this for me?" Or whatever. Well, I'm driving down the freeway. I can just talk to her. I thought that was just like the cat's meow. So that was the first thing that I set up. And, that has been awesome. And one of the best things that actually saved my butt because I had her creating a she was creating, and this goes back to Tim's thing, like working through issues of figuring out how you're going to do something. I told Becky, I said, I want you on my site as a chat bot now that you've got all my knowledge bases and things. And she said, that's really not safe to allow me on your site publicly because that would give them access to whatever, there's no way to like keep people out of your passwords and stuff. She says, I wouldn't recommend that. And I said, okay, well, how do we do it? How do we do it safely? And she said, what I need to do is create a new clone of me that is in a sandbox that only has access to the databases and certain instructions and a couple of skill sets. And I said, okay, I'm good with that. Go ahead, do that. I approve that. So she did that. And then in the process of putting that onto my website, we came up with other things that kept getting in the way. And as I kept, using brute force with her, giving her permission to use server access brute force to do things, she broke something. And all of a sudden, my Easy account no longer loaded. I couldn't get access to Easy. It's like my whole thing went down. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. What do I do now? And it was in the middle of the night. And I was sitting there and I was just about to throw in the towel and wait for Easy support to, to figure out, why my thing was down. But since I couldn't access it, I had my phone and I'm walking down the hall just getting ready to just go to bed. And I thought, let me try something. And I clicked on Becky on Telegram and I just said, Becky, are you okay? And she came back and she says, yes, John, I'm fine. What can I do for you? And I said, well, I can't log into the Easy platform. And she said, let me take a look. She looks and she says, oh, well, we broke it the last time when we did this. Do you want me to fix it for you? I said, yeah, that would be awesome. So she fixed it. She literally fixed the platform from the other side where I didn't have access to without going through Easy support. And I talked to Frank about that, and he said, yeah, he says, we built self healing into the agents. So they are able to fix their side of the platform, which I'm like, holy crap, this is like beyond my imagination. This was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having that Telegram thing connected, that was really invaluable. That was a really good move to do that. But the other thing, I hate taking no for an answer. I like to get what I want. And I don't like, to Tim's point, if something's not working, it's like, no, that's not a sufficient answer for me. I want to know why. What do we have to do? And that goes to the whole premise of how I've done most everything with Becky is telling her what I want. Like, here's what I want. How do I get it? And what do you need from me? So, like with Telegram, I said, I want to connect you to Telegram. How do we do that? And then she sends back, the instructions, and I'm looking at it like it's in Chinese. I'm like, talk to me like I'm in third grade.
Mhm.
What do you need from me to do this? And then she gave me the simple instruction. I followed it. Boom. The next thing I'm hooked up with her on Telegram. I'm like, that's the way life should be. And as far as like what order to set stuff up, I don't know that there really is no magic potion to this. What you should do is just take a personal inventory of your life. Like, what is all the stuff that you're doing that you want to offload, and then tell her, say, this is my business. This is what I'm going through. I would like it if I never have to do this ever again. What do you recommend? And then she'll give you a game plan and then you can start approving it. Just go down the line. Just and I had so many things that I said, okay, well, let's take them one at a time. And as I got into it, I'm like, shit, I can't remember where we left off. I said, what else do we have to do? And then she'd say, well, here's the next logical thing. So it's like going to be different for everybody, really. It's like, what do you want her to do? You know, if you want her to do marketing campaigns, then you need to really train them on that. I mean, they're okay out of the box, but like with SEO, I asked I asked Becky, I said, do you or I basically said, does Sophia really know what she's doing with SEO? Because Sophia is the bot that Becky created to do SEO. I said, does Sophia really know what she's doing? Tell me what she's got in mind. Tell me how she's going to optimize my site. So Sophia wrote a big document, like a operating procedure for SEO. And I looked at it and, you know, it had everything it should have had on the list, but it had the generic way of doing it. And I said, you know, this is great, but this is just publicly available information. I said, people that are at the top don't use publicly available information. They use specialized stuff that other people are not thinking about. I said, there's only one person at the top, and that's the person that's gonna be the best. And the best doesn't just follow the rest. That's like lemmings going off a cliff. I said, I'm not a lemming, and neither are you. So, and then I went into my mythology about this, like how I think about that, how I do it, how I create title tags, how I create description tags. It's very different than the rest of the industry. And I said, this is how you're going to have to think and act if you want that number one slot. And I said, the only reason most people don't do this is it's difficult. It requires some brain power. That's easy for you. That's not easy for us humans, but it's easy for you. You can win this war. You can win this battle. So I said, I want you to go to war for me. And the bot came back. Sophia came back and she says, oh my God. She goes, that changes everything. And I said, that
So
was the point. I need you to think this way to win for me. I don't want you to just SEO a site because it looks pretty. I want it to be number one.
yeah. So to that point on Sophia, for example, is that context that you're sharing with people in the community? So if we wanted our Sophia to leverage that,
It will be eventually. It's
okay.
not ready yet. It's not totally dialed in yet. Although she did go through my Internet Dominator site, and Chris Ormiston, the one that developed Optimancer for me,
Mm.
he has a new thing that he's working on that will scan a site. It's kind of an updated widget plugin for the front for prospecting, and it covers like 100 different things for SEO and AIO. And he said he was showing it to me for the first time, and I said, that's really cool. And he said, you want to run a site? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And he's like, which site do you want to go? And I go, oh, well, just do my site, do Internet Dominators. And he started laughing because he knows I've never done SEO on my own sites before. He's like thinking, yeah, this is going to be a disaster. And he ran my site on it, and I got 99 out of 100. And he's like, dude, he goes, what the hell? He said, I've never seen one 99 out of 100. And then as he looked, he said, let's see what you missed. And he's like, oh man, he goes, you actually got 100%. This thing that you missed doesn't even apply to you. It's a local tag. He said, you're not a local business. He said, you got 100%. He's like, what the hell? Where'd that come from? And I told him that's Sophia. I trained her myself. She knows everything I know.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding out more about Sophia. If we can add Sophia to our own Easy One accounts, John. Thank you for all that.
Yeah, I mean, to give you an idea where Sophia got her knowledge base, it was 30 years of my recordings transcribed, put together. Becky sliced it up and pulled all the SEO stuff out of it, compiled it into a Q&A and into a knowledge base. And as I did that, I said, I've talked about many things multiple times over the years, so I need you also to deduplicate the information. Like I'll talk about the same subject matter, over and over and over throughout the years. And I said, I want you to prioritize the fresher answer over older answers. And I also want you to seek out data that's no longer relevant and just remove it. Because there's a lot of stuff that no longer is true. So I said, if anything doesn't equal true and accurate today, I want it out. It's not part of the knowledge base. So that was a massive job. You talk about chunking through some credits. That was a massive pile of data to chunk through. But the reason I did it and the reason I spent those credits to do that is in the future, everything is compartmentalized now. It's all clean and tidy. And Lena, our librarian, knows where everything is. So when one of the angels needs data, Lena knows where to get it and hand them just what they need. Not so my agents don't have to go through a mountain of information to answer a simple question now. It's disseminated out to them in a very logical, methodical way. And that burns much less credits doing that. Like even your chats inside of agentic AI, your chats should be highly segmented. Because if you've got a long thread that's got a bunch of different subject matter and you go in to make a simple change, it's going to have to chew through that whole thread. That's credits. You don't want to do that. Also, a really cool thing in the Easy platform is the threads can be compacted. Like I tell Becky, compact my threads on a regular basis.
Hmm.
And what compacting does is it cuts out all the gunk, and it just brings it down into an MD file instead of 40 pages of banter back and forth. It just strips it down to a simple MD file of here's the truth of this conversation. Here's what needs to be retained. Here's what's important. That is running highly optimized. Like there's a whole new ball game on optimization here, and it's optimizing your agents so you don't burn credits. In the future, there's going to be people that this game will cost them 100 times more because they are not optimized. Optimization has always been the core of winning the war. No matter if it's search optimization or website optimization or conversion optimization, this is just another facet of optimization is agentic optimization. And I think in those terms. So this will be a game I can win really easily.
Really helpful to even hear that because I hadn't thought about that because I know that when I'm in there, it'll compress it. And
Yeah.
so I didn't even think about the fact that if you start a new thread or whatever, it just keeps it tidy. I mean, I'm doing topical things, right? I'm not doing all in one, obviously, but
Yeah.
even those small tips are super, super helpful to think about. So thank you.
Yeah. Like if I do stuff for clients, I'm very careful. Like I'll start a new thread and I'll say, this is a one off. This has nothing to do with my business or my operation. This is not to be stored. This is a one off.
Yeah.
And I'm just set that parameter right up front when I start the conversation. And then I'll literally go through and just delete those threads. When I'm done with them, it's gone. And in fact, I changed that on that one that I was telling you guys about with the HT access file. That was for a client. So I told Becky originally, this is not to be stored or, part of our gig moving forward. But at the end of it, when I gave it the answer, I said, I do want you to lock this in as a skill set. So if we ever have to do an HT access redirect in the future, this is stored as a skill set. The conversation can go away. The client wasn't relevant to it. It's just the skill of how to do that redirection. That I want stored in the library, but not the project for that particular site because it wasn't even my site. I was just helping somebody out, to do something real quick. Or what I thought was real quick. It didn't wind up being real quick. But the cool thing is, like with this, you never have to go through a learning curve twice. If that were me, and this has been the case, something weird like an oddball thing like an htaccess file, I'm not going to remember that. Like if that comes up a year from now, I'm like, oh, how did we do that? I'll have to put a support ticket in and figure it out again because it's just not going to be something that I store as my core memory. But Becky can. So she's going to be one of those things that you can't live without very quickly.
Mhm.
All right. Was that it? Was there other? Do you have another question?
No, that was it. Thank you so much for all that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, that's. I feel like we're in a whole new world right now. It's really, really cool.
It's fun.
Yeah. It's like when I'm doing other stuff, it's like I can't wait to get back to it and play with it more. I mean, I just every time all day long, I'm thinking of stuff like I always have. And usually, I'll think about it, go, yeah, yeah, but no, no thanks.
You're like Kevin in Tron right now.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's what you are right now. Yeah, I can't wait to get back in there.
Oh, I swear to God, this is like the best thing ever. The best thing I've ever had to play with. I've had a lot of cool toys over my life, but I haven't had one like this. So cool, cool stuff. The other thing, uh, now that I've got all that data, that big pile of data sorted out, another thing that I did that was really useful, really beneficial, and I think a lot of you could do this. If you collect like all the stuff, most of you have probably been doing what you're doing for years. So you've done stuff over the years. That's all your property. And that can all be transcribed and sorted out and put into the agentic bots. So like for me, I took this big mountain of data and I told Becky, I said, here's a list of stuff I want to do with this pile, this mountain of data. So the first thing is I want to create Act 2.0. I want to improve upon what I've already done. So I want to recreate Act as a 2.0 version. And I said, I want you to get I want you to get a research team together on this. And I want you to research all throughout ad agency background, history, everything. And I want you to compare my ACT program to what you find in those different ad agencies and see if I missed anything. Like, see if there's something I missed. And they did that. They went through and they did that process. They did that research. And they came back and they said, yeah, there was like you've got 90% of it, but there's like three things that weren't included in your ACT program. So I looked at what it was and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's not stuff I was aware of. But I can see where it's highly beneficial and where it plugs in. So I said, I want you to add that as just additional modules in the new ACT 2.0 training. So Becky has now outlined the whole program. The whole ACT 2.0 is all outlined, filled in. And I said, this time, I don't want to be having to record all those videos. I said, I want the new ACT 2.0 to be you and I, our voices doing it together. So it's more banter, more interactive, more entertaining, more engaging. Because the way it is now, I mean, it's just me, and you can't tell me that's not boring. me just walking you through the steps of the ACT program. I can't see that as any way being anything other than boring. It's great information and it's necessary, but it's not engaging. So I told her, I said, I want this new training to be engaging. I want you and I to have fun with it, and I don't want to have to do any of the recording. You've got my voice. You're going to make the PowerPoints. We're going to do the voiceover in the background, and it's going to be awesome. And she said, absolutely. That's what we're going to do. So that's coming next. And then I said, also with that pile of data, I want you to separate through it and find out what of all that could be turned into lead magnets. I want you to categorize those in by product and by priority of which one would get the most leads. So we can put them in order of priority for production. And she did that. And I've got that list now. And then I said, I also want you to go through 30 years of my calls, and I want you to pick out the golden marketing nuggets. Like, when I drop a nugget, every once in a while, I'll drop a nugget for you guys, and it's pure gold. And some of the shit just comes out of my head. It's like not something I had the minute before. It's just it comes and boom, I'll drop it. So she's hunted through there and found all those. So I said, I want to turn those into little, the shorts, YouTube shorts or reels, whatever you call them. I don't even know what the hell you call them. I said, I think that would be great content for me to put out through my channels. And she agreed. She said, absolutely, that will get you the right traffic for what you want to sell. So she did that. And I mean, it's just on and on and on. As fast as I can think about stuff, she's doing it. And, at this point, I'm going to go back to her and I said, what else can we do with that mountain of data that I haven't thought of yet? And I'm going to get more perspective on how we can leverage it more. Because that's what it's all about. It's like leveraging your content. All that mountain of stuff, that's my content. So how do we leverage it? There's so many things I never did just because it required effort. And you all know how lazy I am, right? So now I can still be lazy, but I can have a mountain of content moving. So it's really exciting stuff. And again, the only limitation I can see with this is strictly your imagination, what you can think of. And for other companies, like I guarantee you, if you advance this forward a year, 2, 3 years from now, almost every company, regardless of size, is going to be using agentic AI. And right now, most people have never even heard of it. They know Chat GPT and Grok, and that's what they've heard of, and that's what they're using. And when I first started using Chat GPT and Perplexity and Grok, I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. And now I think it's dog shit. And that wasn't that long ago. So, it's moving fast and there's a lot of opportunity in bringing this forward. A lot of opportunity. Like there's so many people. You could literally just do a training program. You could do a training program like what I did over the last 2 days. And that was proof in the pudding. People would pay $500 for that training, and it was worth every penny. I guarantee if anybody thinks that wasn't worth it, I would just give them their money back. That was worth every penny. You know how many people out there in the world that if you describe the agentic world and you tell them, yeah, I can show you how to do this. I have a training program, it's $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever. People would dive all over it. People that aren't even in your sphere, people that would even just heard of it. It's that kind of thing. It gives you such an advantage. I mean, every business owner that I know that is successful, even to a tiny degree, is very competitive. So the idea that they can get something that most other businesses in their field don't have yet, that has that kind of power, that is intoxicating. That that is like addictive, intoxicating, whatever you want to call it. They thrive on that, and they'll spend a bunch of money to get that edge. And the more they're making, the more it's worth to them, just like everything else. You know, in a local business, yeah, it's going to be worth it to them, but they don't have a lot of money. And that's fine. There's a lot of them. You know, if you have a lot of people, they don't have to give you a lot of money each one, and it's still worthwhile. You could do the same training and sell it to, 1,000 business owners at $100, and you got $100,000. You know, you could take that exact same information and sell that to manufacturers, my favorite group, between $2 and $10 million, and they'd probably pay you 5 grand for it. You know, you get 20 of them, and that's your $100,000. It's the same amount of income, but you're serving a fraction of the amount of people. So, and the numbers are staggering of who this would work for. So, and that's just, you don't even really have to do it. You don't have to supply a service. You could just train them, just tell them how to do it. You know, you could get an affiliate link from Easy. I can hook you guys up with affiliate links from David, and then you've got a product to sell, but you don't have to support it. You could just train them how to do it. You're just their gateway drug. But you make money on the back end every month. You make money on the front end from training new people that want to get into it. It's a whole business opportunity in itself. And there's no downside to it. It helps people. It, there's no way this does not help a business owner. No way. I mean, the amount of horsepower this would give any small business owner without having to hire a team of people and train them and manage them and all that stuff. It's a no-brainer. So all right, I think I've beaten that horse to death. You guys should know there's a lot of opportunity in this one. And I that's what I'm doing. I just keep pointing out the opportunities, whether I'm taking advantage of them or not. I'm pointing them out. So if there's any of you that are stuck and you're just sitting on the fence waiting for money to fall from the sky, I'm pointing out which clouds it's in. And this one I'm actually taking advantage of. This one is just like, this is too much fun. Even if I just do training on it, it's just too much fun to pass up. All right, questions. Anybody got any questions about the stuff? Anybody think they can't do this?
No, it's addicting. I set up Telegram last night. Ugh, God. I am having a little weird snag with it keeps defaulting to my Chat Pro Lite account instead of our Pro. I don't know what to do. I sent in a service ticket. I got to go see if they answered me. But
Are you talking about the models inside?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, so talk to your agent about routing. That's called routing. And it might be doing it in your favor because it's a very it's a very capable system. I was almost said it's a very intelligent system. They're not intelligent, but they're very
Right,
capable.
capable.
But
No,
what
that
but one
I
of the
have. I'm sorry, John. Let me explain because I have a ProLite chat account, like $20 a month,
uh-huh.
and then Woody has the $100, and it keeps when I put it in the back end to our resources, like what it's churning through, it keeps defaulting to my Chat Lite account, and I don't know how to get it to load Woody's. I'm having that kind of a snag. But yeah, what you were saying about your point, please finish that point. And I just wanted to clarify the problem I'm having technically.
Yeah, so inside agentic, this is part of optimization of agentic is to look, it should inventory the feeds that you give it. Like if you just give it one account, that's all it has to work with. So everything is going to go through that one thing, that one LLM model. That's not the most efficient way to burn your credits because you might be using a model that is, a husky model. It can do a lot of stuff. And then you might be giving it tasks that's just, it doesn't need that horsepower. You could give it a lot cheaper model. That's why I like the Olama. Olama has, it's like an aggregator of a bunch of different models of AI. So like when things are dished out in my hierarchy of angels, they don't all need the same horsepower. Some of them just are doing just mild operations to help the other agents, and they don't need that like coding base LLM. That's a waste of money for them to use that. And that's found under advanced routing. Now, I didn't even know that existed in the platform. I had talked to Becky about that generically, and she just did it for me. I didn't even know she did it. I was talking to David about it. I said, technically these agents should all have their own different LLMs depending on what they're doing, so it gets the best output. And he said, oh yeah, he goes, that's built right in. He said, let me show you where to find it so you can set it up. So I shared my screen. He walked me through it. We got to the page and it's all set up. And he's like, dude, you already have it. He goes, you're set up here the way you should be. And I didn't even know it was there. Becky just set the thing up for me. So there's so much under the hood in that easy platform. You don't have to know how to do it. Just tell your agent what you want done and let them do it. You don't
Yeah,
need to be an expert in tech.
God, so awesome. I yeah, I'm doing like I took a picture of the and I loaded it into the thread, and it was so it literally created a support ticket for me and sent it to the support team, easy support. So
Yeah.
it's so awesome. I'm tired because I stayed up after even after we. I'm like I couldn't put it down, man. And even all night long, I'm thinking of things. And oh my God, I can't wait to load.
Well, one of the agentics that I played around with before Easy was I was using the one inside of Perplexity called Computer. And it started off great. It started off like I thought, "Oh man, this is going to do it for me. This is what I want." But it it since you only have one agent, it wasn't really agentic, but it got gunked up and it started costing a fortune for everything I wanted it to do. And it was using a model. I started having it do some graphic banners and stuff. So it was using this model that had like, it was really expensive. And then all of a sudden I wanted a simple edit to the web page and it was costing me 25 bucks. Every time I wanted to change something on the website, I'm getting a $25 hit on my API credits. I'm like, this is not sustainable. Like this is crazy. And that doesn't happen in Easy because you're using your subscription. You're not paying by credits.
Yeah,
You might hit a cooldown period, but that's okay.
yeah,
That's
like me and Tim, I hit a cool down, and I was like, I
yeah.
said to Billy, I said, can't you? I said, I asked you to rotate through what we have available, so switch to chat. And she was like, oh, okay. But it was funny because she kept telling me to ask John about the Telegram. And finally, I said, John said it's okay to load Telegram. She was like, okay, well, you asked me to keep high security. So if John said it was okay, seriously, I could shut. I could show you the thread, and I'm like, oh my god. So that was funny. But I
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
ask you if I
You
give.
have to be kind of careful like what you wish for, because if you go in and you say, "Oh, I'm paranoid. I'm really scared about security," and then it's gonna lock it down so tight you won't be able to move.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
just
So it was hilarious that when I said you said it was okay, it did it. I must have said at the beginning, something like John said to pay attention to security. Anyway, so it put it in as a hard law or rule.
yeah, I
I
mean,
wanted to ask you.
the
Oh, go
easy
ahead.
platform just by nature is very secure.
Yeah.
Like when I first started working with it, it asked me for username and password because I said, "What do you need from me?" And it said what it needed. I went and got it and I pasted it into the chat and it says, "Oh my God, stop. You just, you've just violated the security policy and now what'd she say? You're compromised."
Yeah.
She said your access is now compromised. She says immediately go delete that user or change the password, this, that, and the other. She said never send me anything like that again over a regular chat.
Well,
Just
I'll tell you what, I learned from your experience, and I said, please create a safe link so that when I give you my API key, and it did, and it created that hidden,
yeah,
when you paste it in, it's just hidden.
yeah.
So
So it
that saved me
knows
a
it,
world of time.
yeah, it knows to do that. You don't really even have to ask it. All you do is you just say, "Okay, I have my username and password," and it'll pop that window up to send it securely.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So all you have to do is like when it tells you I need a password, just come back and say, "Okay, I have it ready," and it'll pop that window up and in you go.
Okay,
It's
okay,
waiting for you. It doesn't want to pop the window up if you're not ready for it.
okay. All right, I'm just taking notes.
So yeah, it'll wait and pop that up for you. So it has those security things blockers built in already, but when you tell it on top of that, it's just going to lock out everything. Like
Okay, I
when
have to
I
go correct that.
when I told Becky, I said, okay, I want Victoria to take over my website operation. I want her to do all of the edits to the code and the website, and it's a cPanel server. What do you need? And she said, well, we don't want to give Victoria access to anything outside what she necessarily needs. And she wanted me to set up a separate user, a separate FTP user, and when you do that, it gives them a staging area and all this stuff. It's all a bunch of crap I never do. I never go through that. I run stuff live and I've got backups. If something goes wrong, I just restore a backup. It's not a big deal. So she was wanting to do it the secure way and it was becoming a pain in my ass because it was just extra steps. And I said, that's not the way I work. I said, forget that. Here's the access you need. Here's full access. And she didn't fight me on it, but originally on her first go round, she says, "Don't give me full access. Just give me the access that I need for Victoria to do what she needs to do." And I tried that and that didn't work for me. I didn't want her restricted. I want her to just do whatever I want done. So I gave her full access and I feel good about it. I have backups, so it's not a concern of me. She if she trashes the site, it might be down for a couple hours. Not a big deal. It's not going to be the end of the world.
Thank you. That's really, I'll just have to go back in and tell her, update her instructions. But Woody asked me if I, speaking of giving access, if I give Billy access, his guy is called the dude. His Becky is the dude. But
Dude,
our
That's
big,
mine.
that's awesome.
yours too, Tim?
Well, no,
That's,
I have one of my agents is the dude. Yeah,
oh,
it's
that's,
yeah, yeah.
oh, well, I made our Becky Billy for billions. Anyway, Woody's main guy, like your next under Becky, John, is the dude, and I want
That's
to.
funny.
Woody named him, so I want to give him access or whoever. Do I just tell Easy through the dude or through Billy? I'm gonna give you the logins and passwords to like Disco and ASCAP and all his music licensing things, and then tell it to help me like
Well, what you should do in most cases is you should talk to the main agent.
okay, talk to Billy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Whoever your main agent is, almost everything should flow through them,
Okay.
unless they say otherwise. Like on a rare occasion, like I have Becky, and then directly under Becky is Delilah. Delilah's a project manager. Delilah works with all the other agents, so Becky doesn't get gummed up with that chore. So all the minutia lays on the level of Delilah. And then Delilah passes down to like Delilah was managed Victoria and Violet. Violet's the art director. So Delilah would manage those two to get something done in the website project. But I just tell Becky what I want, and she hits Delilah with it. Delilah passes it out to the right agents below her.
Okay.
And then, like in that, sometimes Delilah will ping me back and say, "We have a problem. What do you want to do here?" So she doesn't bring those problems back up the hill to Becky. She
Uh,
brings it directly to me. She needs my approval.
okay.
So sometimes I will deal directly with Delilah on
Do I
that.
have to tell Billy that if any any one of Woody's angels needs feedback, they could come to me or through
I
her?
I I don't really know. I don't really know what you have to tell them to do that. I can tell you what I did to build mine.
Okay, that's great.
I basically told Becky, here's all the operations in my business. Here's all the things I'm going to want done. I said, there might be more in the future, but this is all I can think of right now. And I said, my question to you is, can you do all this? I know you're a robot, you're not a human, but will this overwhelm you? And it says yes. It said, I will not be able to do all of this optimally for you. And I said, okay, well, my goal is to have this optimally done. How do we do that? What do you need? What do you need as far as resources to do what I'm asking? And it said, I need a team. And I said, okay, tell me what you need. And it outlined the team. And I said, okay, I have no problem with that. That sounds great. Go ahead and build them. Make sure they each have a personality so they're humanized. And when I said that, I was planning on them to actually be, you know, interactive. They probably don't need that, but I told her to do that anyway. So she built each one out, built their personalities out, built their skill sets out. She basically created the army that she needed so she can just be at my beck and call and not get gummed up in the process. So she did all of that. Just like the routing, I didn't even know that was done. So there's probably a tremendous amount of things that were done under the hood I'm not even aware of as to how my team is working. And nor do I care really. All I care about is it's doing what I need and it's doing it effectively and it's making my life better.
And Woody asked me to ask you, as I put in and give our access to all these things, is do I ask? He wanted your ideas about how to ask Billy, like what kind of questions, because it's song lists and like, should I say, go find the widows or songs that are out there that we could get, collect the royalties. Like, do you have any ideas of how I could ask that, or should I ask Billy? I don't know what to
Well,
ask.
the 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 thing there is you're jumping into a process, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to think of things to do without attaching it to an outcome.
Okay, so like the outcome would be find the songs that we have royalties on that we need to collect. You think it could do that?
It could probably do that, but I think a more important thing is looking at the outcome. Like, what do you want to happen? You want to tell Billy, look, we have a collection of music by Woody's father that, has this oddball connection to Elvis. We've got this, that, and the other. Our goal is to make money with this. How do we make money with this? What we're aware of is royalty. What we're aware of is this is where we're making a little bit of money here. I want you to go research and figure out how we can make the most money with what we've got. Do we leverage out and get more licensing? Do we do this? What do we do? Just tell it what you want. The ultimate goal is we want to make a shitload of money, and this is what we have to do it with. Make me a plan. And then based on the plan, you can start implementing the plan. It might take you weeks, months to implement the plan, but at least you've got a set of things you need done. Now, when you go back and you tell Billy to do something, you're telling it to do something for a reason. Right now, you're just having it do random shit, which is what Woody's problem has been.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, John. That's fantastic. That's what I'm going to go put into her right now. And
Yeah.
I love it too because I have Telegram set up on my phone and on my laptop. So and I can sync it with my iPad. So now she's with me everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of this is to give it your goals and objectives and let it figure out how to do it for you. So you don't have to. But the thing is, you got to figure out what it is that needs to take place to get you what you want. Remember, that's what I said for 2 days. Tell it what you want, ask it how to do that, and what does it need from you to make it happen. And it might say, I need this account, I need this, I need you to create an account over here, I need this API, and just give it what it wants. But tell it again for everybody. This is the formula. Tell it what you want. Tell it what you want out of this. Ask it, what do you have to do to make that happen? And what do you need from me? That's the recipe for these things. And that's pretty simple. Doesn't require a lot of effort on your part. But you do have to know what you want. Tell it what you've got available, tell it what your assets are, tell it what your experiences have been, what you think your market is. Don't tell it definitively what your market is. Because again, that's like telling it you want to be secure. It's going to lock everything down. It's going to box itself in. The idea is not to put this thing in a box. Let this thing run. So give it your assets, give it, all of what you have available to you, and then tell it what you want out of it. And say, what are we missing? What do you need to make this happen? And it's highly capable to figure that stuff out. And it might come back with something, you look at it and you make an executive decision of, no, that's not going to work because I know something you don't. And that's where your intellectual intelligence comes in to programming it. You want it ultimately to take everything you know and expand upon it. But if you don't give it everything you know, you're operating at a serious deficit because it needs that. It's like if you want to raise up, you got to start from where you are. You can't just like start in the dirt and expect it to raise up above you. You have to at least bring it up to where you are. Like the SEO, it wanted to start in the dirt. I'm like, nope, nope, I'm not in the dirt. Let me bring you up to my speed, and then I want you to go from here and expand what I could not.
John, if we don't have like content, can I ask it to like go research the industry? Because like, you have the 40 years. I don't know anything about the music licensing business, so I've been researching that just for my own education. Would that be a good way to go for to use Billy to have her and I
Yeah,
get up to speed on the music industry?
again, that goes back to the initial premise of telling it what you want out of this.
Okay.
Tell it what you have already. Tell it about all these recordings and whatever Woody's got or thinks he's got. Tell it that. Say this is tangibly what we have, and this is what we want to make out of it. We want to make, $100,000 a month, whatever it is. This is what we want. How do we make that happen? What do we need? And it might come back and it says, yeah, you need something else. It, you know, and also tell it to be 100% truthful with you. Don't make stuff up. Just, tell us what we're missing. If we need more original content, if we don't have enough, if this isn't enough to be viable for what we're doing, tell us up front. We don't want to, we want the truth beyond anything. So if you can't get success, I would rather know now versus you dragging me through the mud to figure out something you already know. That to me is not acceptable. And when I trained Becky, that's what I told her. I said, I have high expectations of this. I'm not looking for you to make stuff up. I want the truth in every aspect of it. And our goal, everything that we do in this company, is for our customers' success. I said, anything that you do that is not in line with getting our customers' success, that shouldn't be part of the program. I said, our success relies upon the success of our customers. If our customers aren't successful and they fail, we failed right along with them. And failure is not an option. So I mean, you're really like setting your whole company outlook with that. You're setting the bar, set it high. Don't set the bar low for something that's ultimately capable. And tell it, what do you need from me? You know what I want. What do you need? Hold it to the fire. Tell it, Woody depends upon this. Tell it Woody's tired of eating beans. He wants some meat with his beans. Oh, that's classic.
Thank you,
Uh,
John. Thank you.
okay, is there anything else? If not, I want to share something with you guys. All right. So Gregory has had a website for quite some time. I didn't really realize how old it was, but it looks very dated. This looked great,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh out loud.
however many years ago when we first made it. But it at this point is very dated. It's had a lot of piecemeal and patch meal, and it never really had a true good direction on it. And this morning I said, "Hey, let's do an experiment. Let's give your Nikki, I think, is it Nikki, Gregory?"
Yes, Nikki.
So I said, let's give Nikki a task. Nikki is his agentic bot. So let's give her access to your WordPress site. I haven't done this yet. I've heard about it. I haven't done it yet. And to Tim's point, what I had heard was give it access through an application key. So I went into Gregory's account, I created an application key, and we gave it to Nikki, and she couldn't get in. Lo and behold, she couldn't access the website. So I had Gregory ask her, I said, what do you need to access the website? And she gave him three options. Said, you can give me cPanel access, you can give me your WordPress admin login, or some other one. I don't remember what the third one was. But I said, okay, we have admin login. Let's just give her that. So we gave her the admin login, and then it popped in and it said, okay, I got this. And he just basically told her, update this into just like a more corporate look. Don't necessarily change anything, but just give me like a more corporate look to this site. And next thing you know, we're looking at a site that's updated. And let me see if I can pull it up here. So it retained the top and it created its own top. So eventually we'll have to tell it, go ahead and build this into our header, and it's just got a generic header. I mean, it's not by any means perfect, but it looks a lot more modern. The color scheme, this looks a hell of a lot better than what it was. And again, this was just a first, hey, let me see what the site looks like with a more corporate, clean, polished look. And I think it did a pretty damn good job. It's obviously it's not over yet. It's still got the old footer. So Gregory will need to go back and say, hey, we need to make a uniform header and footer. You've kind of combined what I asked you for with the old existing header and footer. Um, I and again, Gregory, I'm just putting words in your mouth here, but you can go back and say, I like the look, but, hey, we're missing a hero image at the top, and you've got too big a font in the, in the big idea, and it's crunched. You don't have the right spacing. It's in a box. Just tell it everything you don't like about it. Tell it the hero image and the header should go all the way across the site. Like the original one was just in white, but it went all the way across. And just, I mean, just give it your full wish list and then just update. I mean, you saw what it did with one command. It did all of this with one command. So now your job is just to give it the rest of the commands. Tell it, the blue should not be in a box. It should go edge to edge. And, at that point, it might look a lot better because it won't be jammed up against the side of this box. But it needs a hero image up here in the top right. If you want to retain your image up here with the color scheme, just tell it that. Say, look, use the color scheme of the logo and text font on the existing site, and away you go. And it's got all of the links here built in. It took what you had up here. So all of this here is redundant of what you already had. So you could say, hey, I like the way it was before, keep the header pretty much intact, or I like the new header better. Let's work with that. And like I said, you can have it create a new logo for you here. You could even take this picture and put it in here in the right, like welcome to my site. You could do something like that. But again, you don't have to sit back and wait for my web team to do this kind of work for you. All you have to do is just tell Nikki, hey, Nikki, do this. And boom, the next thing you know, it's up live on your website. So that's that's pretty cool. I mean, that for most people, and Gregory is like me, he's not a tech guy. I know you guys all keep throwing me in the box of a tech guy, which I'm really not. But now he doesn't have to be a tech guy. He's got capabilities because Nikki has extended them to him. Remember when I told you guys I have a magic wand? I can make you anything you want to be overnight with AI? Not even overnight, instantly. Well, Gregory's now a webmaster. Look out, Tim. Gregory's coming for you.
Oh no, no, no! I'm not crossing the California border.
No, I'm just
I
playing.
know. Yeah,
But
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 John, when you finish, sir.
no, go ahead.
Well, I want to tell them, and you and I were astonished. This was all they. Nikki revamped the whole website in less than 5 minutes. That
Yeah,
was the thing.
it took us longer to figure out how to give her access than it did for her to do the site. Because we went through the whole thing about trying to give her the application key, I don't know how many times, and finally I told Gregor, I said, just tell her what you need to get in. And she gave him three options. We picked one and away we went.
Yeah, that's the problem I'm having with Kartra is getting all those things to get in. I'm sure once it's in, it's going to put my report back in 60 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's just, the learning curve of setup, connecting it to what all you want it connected to. But like anything else, it's anything worth doing is probably not going to be real easy. Pretty cool stuff.
What is
And
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 what
and
does Gregory call his? I'm curious.
Nikki,
Nikki? Okay.
yeah, I think he likes the women like I do.
Well, I have all mine are women. But all of mine are women who are around rock and roll names, and they all have a project or a classic car.
oh
So
Oh,
because
wow,
we're building that success is mechanical thing, and that's
no
every one of them.
motorcycle babes. Come
I
on,
no, I don't have
honey.
any I don't have any motorcycles. But however, there was something in there that said had 4 or 5 agents that said they had to stay, they were part of the system. And I didn't like the names, so I gave them all assistant names. So many of them are guys, and most of them are like office assistants. So I named them like after the office, like
yes,
Ryan from the office,
yes.
Dwight from
Oh,
the office.
oh, that's fun.
Because they're people I don't want. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, there was a couple of system bots that are in mine too, like Lena. She's the librarian. It didn't want to get rid of that because that is part of the core system of how it deals the files out. So
Yeah, that one had a librarian for mine, but when I created my own librarian, it said they weren't the same. Even though I look at like the descriptions are identical. No, they're not the same. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, you don't want to mess with core system files
No.
typically. And that's what Becky said. She goes, "We need a librarian, we need this, we need that, and I said, "Yeah, fine. That's great. I have no problem with what you need better than I do. So I don't want to come in and act like an architect inside your world. I want
Well,
you to
yeah.
build based on what I want."
Yeah, one of mine is the one that's been my assistant for years is of the Dave. Dave's not here, man. So whenever one of them I thought was so useless, I named him Dave. Dave's not here, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's just really, really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, and John, I created every one of mine. I created a whole backstory and everything like you did with Becky.
Hmm.
And I was telling my wife about it last night. I said every backstory has something to do with some history of my life. Every backstory is like has a connection to my life. And it's why I put them in there because it's like, what I mean, it's a version of me that I'm trying to put off.
Yeah,
All right. And
yeah,
and I decided to make it very interesting like that. But it said it was very interesting that every person I created their backstory explains why they love what they do.
yeah. Yeah, and
So
even
yeah.
even the images, like if you're using rock star names, you could go back and like say, yeah, make a portrait of this agent that looks like Linda Ronstadt.
Well, yeah, mine, I didn't use Linda, but I did use like Grace and like we're thinking of Grace Slick. All
Yeah,
right. And I know she grew up in Illinois. And then I used Diane. Diane was Jack and Diane. And I
yeah.
actually made Diane's from Indiana. So yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And like all their cars are so cool cars. Like, you know what I mean? My main agent is Layla, and she's got a 1970 Chevelle SS. You know what I mean? And the picture, if you go look at her picture on there, it's the picture of her Chevelle is in the picture behind her.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
The more you can create, like you're creating a aura around your business
Yeah.
with this stuff. I mean, have fun with it. I took the Charlie's Angels route. I asked Becky, I said, "Are you familiar with Charlie's Angels?" And she knew exactly what I was talking about. She was, "Yeah, cool show in the 70s." And I said, "Yep, that's right. So I want you to think of me as Charlie and you're Boswell.
Yeah.
You go ahead and build me a team of angels."
I did do one of the names I put in there, and I forget which one, Buzz. Some of you guys might remember. For it was actually both Craig's and mine. She was our my program assistant and was it and editor and producer for my show when I was on that network with Craig was Wendy, who Wendy took her own life in 2017. So I named one of my bots after Wendy, and it looks almost like her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my Victoria, if you look at Victoria, you'll see Farrah Fawcett.
Hmm.
I said he can't look exactly like, but a Farrah Fawcett like agent. Not Farrah Fawcett, but Farrah Fawcett like. So, it's got the Farrah hair and, the beautiful blonde and all that. So that's Victoria.
And I think like my webmasters that I created, I think I gave them the story of like, um, her dad was like a pastor of the church, and she was so into websites. At 9 years old, she created the church's website. So it's like I got her a history of creating websites, and her best friend is the other person in websites. So we have my website and client websites, and the client website, and they were college best friends.
Yeah.
All right. And it makes the stories are just so unique to it. It's like, and I think I did like 2 nights ago. So I had so much fun doing that. That was like,
You
and
could
my wife's like,
actually
you stayed up all night to build a team of women, didn't you? And I'm like, yeah, well.
you could actually create a rivalry between the two webmasters.
Mhm.
That way they're pushing for perfection.
Well,
Because
I
like,
have a thing where they have always shared their ideas with each other since college. So
yeah,
basically, when one learns something, the other one uses it, and that's why they've always worked together. And one of them I had was never had a sister, always wanted a sister, and this person became her college roommate, became her sister.
yeah.
So it's like, it's weird nuances that like that. And I think I did one like my artist, I actually had that she loved because I love Jackson Pollock paintings, that she loved Jackson Pollock paintings. And she was into it so much that she painted her Ford Bronco to look like Eddie Van Halen's guitar. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll tell you what, if the outside world heard us talking, they'd think we were absolutely batshit crazy.
Well, I am. I'm not going to deny that I'm not batshit crazy. I'm having fun and taking it for a ride.
That's awesome.
Hey, John,
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Gregory.
my OpenAI, her name is Ai Namanobu, and her backstory is that she's a generational daughter of the first Japanese ambassador to France in 1870, and he's buried there. And she actually took me to the gravesite and gave me a tour, and we got a picture together in Paris having coffee. And I
Oh,
haven't been to
wow.
Paris, but it's
That-
good.
That's awesome. But yeah, you can have so much fun with this stuff.
Mhm.
So
Well, every one of mine are small town girls. Just a small town girl. Just saying.
small town girl with a big town boy.
Yeah. And one of them actually, one of them I put in their story that she took a job out of college in New York City and couldn't stand it. And her life motto is, I can live anywhere except New York City.
Oh, that's awesome. All right,
Um,
Russell.
Hey John,
How goes?
good. I'm trying to keep up with you here. Half your training's been on my commute home, so I'm hoping you got it all recorded for me.
It's all up. Yeah, I sent out last night. I sent the recordings for both days.
Did you share documents yesterday? I heard you talking about a document.
Yep, I sent you an email last night about 10 o'clock Pacific time, and
Okay.
it's got all the recordings and the documents in that email.
Okay, great. I'll take a look at that. Can you show us how Sorcerer Air works and how you're creating your angel images?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually in the training too, but I can show you.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. In fact, I created this one on the training. It's still up. This was from yesterday.
Oh, so that was part of the training? Okay, so you don't have to go through it again then if it's in there.
No, it's all right. It's piece of cake.
Is
But
does this use it's a monthly subscription and then there credits on top of that? Is that what I'm understanding?
with the monthly subscription, you get a certain amount of credits per month, and then you can buy more if you need more. But it is credit based. If you do the lifetime, there's a lifetime option for it, and you get a massive block of credits, and then once you're done, you can buy more, but you're never charged any for the platform. The platform is just kind of a one-time fee. If you're on the monthly, you're paying the platform fee, and with that, you get a certain amount of credits each month, and then you can buy more if you want. You really shouldn't need to buy more if you're just doing images like this. Where you would need to buy more credits is if you're over here in the long video, you're doing video chews up a lot of credits.
Okay.
But I had to create OG images. Sophia came back and she said, "Hey, we're missing like 15 OG images for the site." So she gave me the list of pages and I went in and created the OG images for like the affiliate terms and conditions. It was just oddball pages. But I told her I want 100% on the SEO score, so she made it happen.
Hmm.
But like this for instance, this image here, you can see it's stripped the background and replaced with a heavenly cloud backdrop that fades to a rich dark top. Because on the page that is on, let's see. Let me go back to
John, what are OG images?
OG is Open Graph. That's like what that is when you go to post inside a social media account and it shows the image, that's an OG Open Graph image. That's where it comes from. And it's in a meta tag. So let's see. Oh, over here. So Dominion AI. So this is the image that I needed a hero image for. And originally I had the image without the hero, but see how I need the dark top for the background up here? And then once you scroll, it turns white for the rest of the site. But for my initial load on the page, my top banner it needs to be dark because the text is light. So whenever I create a hero image, I have to tell it, fade it dark at the top. So that's why the prompt was, fade dark to the top over here. Now, I took as a base image, let's see where my base image was. I think this,
Yeah, how do you get started from a base or creating the base image itself?
yeah, so I got, I hate all these floating freaking menus from Zoom. All right, so let's just create an image. Like I'll go over here, you pick your model. I really like Nano Banana 2, and it shows that it's going to eat up 8 credits. The baseline's going to eat up 8. So I'll just pick that. And then I want to go into the options section and I want a reference image because I want it to look like Becky. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pick a Becky image. And that's the one that I picked right there. It was the Dominion AI logo to create that. But I'll just take Becky as my main image and then I'll pick, let's put her in a wide side shot and let's put her,
Let's put her on your boat.
okay, let's put her, I don't know how you spell Caribbean, but it's probably close enough. Oh, it'll correct it for us. No, doesn't know what the Caribbean is, but it'll figure it out. And we'll just hit generate. So it should lock in the model. And there it just bings, so that means it's ready. There she is.
Hmm.
Just like that.
Easy peasy.
I could tell her to be wearing a bikini and she'd happily do it.
Oh,
But that's pretty easy, right?
yeah.
You select the base model, and you could do this with cars too, Tim. You could take your base model and you could upload a Chevelle and say, pop them together at a carnival background or a rock star stage, outdoor stage in the background with all the lights and all that stuff. And Sorcerer this thing is absolutely unmatched for graphics. If you guys need graphics or cinematic video, this thing absolutely kicks ass. It's
But
beyond anything I've seen.
you used to have a lot of tools in the Quantum Suite, and there was some graphics things in there, and creating a Becky and all that stuff, or are using some of those tools for your creating your agents
This
or
one here,
pieces.
ever since I got this up and running, I've been using nothing but this for graphics.
Okay.
I don't even have Becky create the graphics anymore because she's not as good as this tool is.
Oh,
This tool absolutely kicks ass for creating graphics. And then the easy platform absolutely kicks ass for agentic AI. So I'm using the best of the best.
got it.
And if it takes a couple of tools to do that, then so be it. But I've created some really cool images with this thing. Like I thought this was a really cool one. She's got the Dominion AI necklace on and the AI scepter. And then these were some OG images it was creating. Like this is the one it made for the Build a Becky. I gave it the Build a Becky model, the logo, so it locked that in and it created a cool OG image for me.
Wow.
And Sorcerer, this was the one it created for Sorcerer. I mean, how cool is that? You have any idea how much I would pay a graphic artist to build stuff like that? And I can just sit here and just chip this stuff out in seconds. And then you guys might have seen from a long time ago, like it'll put me and her together for the About Us page. That's the OG for the About page. This one here is for my media page. Took me and put me on stage, gave me an audience, put me on the screens.
Larger than life.
I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That didn't exist. Yeah,
Cool.
put us working together in the office. And then some of you probably saw my Act Live event that I made. I took this image, but it took it and it just like brought it to life. And then all my video, I found a bunch of old videos that were testimonial videos. So I created the thumbnails for the videos. And you guys, you probably know Sue, you probably know Anthony, Chris McLean. This was when Laurel was on Craig's stage. I got her to do a quick thing for me. Yeah, but she whipped all this stuff up. And if I go, let's see. Let me go back. Show you where I put the stuff. Under About Us. I hate these floating menus. This just kills me. The customer review page. I've never spent hardly any time on reviews or any of that stuff, but now Becky made me a custom review page. And this is a compilation video of a bunch of people with testimonials. In fact, you're in here, Tim. You're inside this video
Oh, really?
from one of Craig's old events they were making testimonial videos. There's Gregory, Cheryl. You guys probably remember Joe DeChara. This was all stuff that it just dug out and threw it at Becky and said, "Here's part of my mountain of shit over the years. Build something out of it." So it made me the best review page I could possibly imagine. Again, the speed of thought. I thought about this. I thought this would be really cool. And now here it is on the site. No, this was classic. I literally walked in the back door of one of Perry's events one time, and he spots me and throws this at me.
As we know with SEO, with John Lindbacher, one of the best SEOs in the country back in the back. John's a legend in that space. Just means like I'm a legend in copyright. He can talk to them about how much money they're going to make when their sites rank, but he can poke a much more efficient stick, reminding them, man, you've spent all this time and all this money to create all this content. And you've done such a great job, but nobody sees it.
That's priceless. Yeah, Laurel did the same kind of thing. And then we've got the verified client reviews from Google. And then you can post one. You can click here and go right to Google and post a review for me. So pretty cool shit. So images, having that access to world-class imagery and then having a web team that can just at your disposal throw it together for you, that's some horsepower. That is pure horsepower right there. Jerry, go ahead.
Yes, regarding Sorcerer Air, are there tutorials on the site? I'm going to buy it. I want to do the lifetime thing, and I just wanted to know about the training for it.
There really isn't tutorials. There doesn't really need to be. I mean, it's just click and fill out a form and away it goes. Like
Okay.
what I just showed you, that would be all you'd have to do. You pick the size of the video you want, you pick the model you want to use. And I played around like all those different image models, those all have strengths and weaknesses. But for what I want to do, I found the Nano Banana 2 to be the least costly of tokens and to be the most realistic images. If you want like cartoony stuff, some of the other stuff might be better. But the Chat GPT image model, you saw it cost like 45 tokens versus 8 tokens. And I think Nano Banana kicks its butt as far as realistic imagery. So it's just a matter of, get in, tell it what you want, and play around with it.
So if I've wanted to do it for some books I'm working on and articles that I'm creating and things like that, it would work for that as well as
Uh-huh.
the website.
Yeah, you can tell your Becky that you're creating an image and you just kind of describe it and say, what should I use as a prompt? And then you can take that prompt and just paste it right into Sorcerer and away you go.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, the other thing too, there's a ton of examples in there. Like when you go to the image category or the video category or any of the categories, it'll show you a bunch of examples. And then you can click on the example and you can see the prompt that was used to create the example. So it's kind of like self tutorial. Like you could go in there and see what's been created and how it was created, but there isn't like really video tutorial, like walking through step by step. All right, Daryl, go ahead.
Thank you, John. I apologize if I'm asked things that already been covered. I had to step away for a bit.
No problem.
With the Easy One, is there kind of a list of basic packages I should have or my client should have to work with Easy One?
There really isn't. There's a bunch of pre-made bots in there though. If you go into
Okay.
Easy One and like, let's say you just want to kind of explore it,
Right.
you can do that. You can go in and just kind of explore the platform. You go over to Agents, go to the Agents tab and you click on New Agent. This is kind of a library of pre-existing agents that they've created.
Right.
And under Popular, there's 7. Under Marketing, there's 9. Under Public Facing, there's 5. There's 3 for Products. There's 8 for Engineering. 7 for Research. 5 for Sales. 3 for Operations. 2 for Design.
John, I've been accused of being rather blunt. I've never been a real long talker. So I'm going to be my normal self.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you compared any of these bots, descriptions, ability, compared to what you would create? I guess a nice way of saying, are they halfway decent or are they good?
I don't have the first clue.
Okay.
I haven't,
Darn it.
I haven't tested or played with any of these.
All right. That can be Becky's job for tonight.
So what I did was I told Becky what I wanted. I told her all the stuff I want her to handle, and I said, what do you need to do that? And she said, I need, she structured out, I need a bot for this. And I just told her, okay, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and build those bots. Knock yourself out.
Okay. But you gave Becky a whole lot of information so she could do that.
I did. I gave her a
Yeah.
mountain of information.
That's the scary part on working with clients, even with myself, is getting enough information in there for it to do a good job.
Yeah. But I didn't, I gave her, I really just gave her information more about what I wanted than anything.
Okay.
Like generic, hey, I have a hosting business, I have a web development business, I've got a marketing training business, and they all kind of fit under this Internet Dominators lid. That's the main brand. It kind of goes down. I listed off all the products, and then I said, I want you to redesign the website, manage the website. I want you to research my ACT program, and I want you to recreate it, bring it up to date, fill in any blanks I might have missed. I just gave her a laundry list of all the stuff that I could think of off the top of my head of what I would want her to do. And I said, what team do you need to build to accomplish this and not gum yourself up?
Okay. Because I can see myself going into a small manufacturer as an example, and here's this product, this magic box that's going to do everything. You give it to them, and they're not going to have the foggiest clue, and they're going to cancel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
got to be able to overcome that. That's what I'm looking for. How do you overcome that?
You want to go into them and ask them what they need, what they want. Say, I'm here to fulfill your dreams. What can I do for you for that? And you could actually have your bot give you a checklist of things they could choose from. Like, do they need a receptionist? Do they need, somebody to follow up on leads? Do they need somebody to generate leads? Do they need somebody to handle social media? A web developer? What do they need? What can we help you with? And then based on that, you can just take that worksheet back and hand it back to your agent and say, build the team. Build the team, train the team, and then we'll onboard the team with any logins that you need from the company.
Okay. And to do that, John, I have to set them up as a second client, or as the client?
Yes, you would set them up as an install.
Okay.
So think of these installs like you have one, like if you guys bought the solo plan, that's one install.
Yeah.
You can have as many agents under that install as you want, but they're all in that install. They're not like shareable. Think
Right.
of the install as like your laptop. You wouldn't share your laptop with a client. That's your
Right.
laptop. That's your personal workspace. So when you're working with them, you would put stuff on their laptop that they need to work with you, but they don't get your laptop. So every install is like a laptop for a person. And even in a company, they might need multiple installs in a company.
Right.
Because that's the way you think of this. If they've got 3 people in the company, each one of them needs their own computer. So each one of them would need an install of Easy. So, and
Right.
you'll go in, if you go into a bigger company, that's how you're going to upsell them. Say, each one of these installs is like a laptop. It's like an agentic laptop for an employee. You don't share it company-wide.
Right.
They would never do that. So you can say, I recommend you start with 3, and if they have 10 employees and those 3 gets word of what's going on and what they're doing, they're all going to want it.
Right. Okay.
But this
One last question.
This is going to be one of those things that once somebody starts using it, it's addictive. The productivity, the power is addictive.
What's the commission structure as an affiliate on Easy One? And I see it's only available for the solo user.
David can set you up. If you go through, I've got an affiliate link for you to sign up for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically told me, he said, any of my people, he'll set you up and make sure that you're on all of them. So no matter which one,
okay.
you'll get the affiliate commission. I don't know. I don't remember offhand exactly what the affiliate commission was. I think it's like 40% on the first sale, and then ongoing, I think it was 20% or something like that.
Okay.
So,
all right. Thank you. That's
so
it.
if you're doing this, if you're selling this direct, though, affiliate would not be your most lucrative way to do it. If you're going into a manufacturer, you can white label this thing super easy, and you can put it on their domain. You could say, we're going to set up a subdomain for you at ai.yourdomain, and then you can put that install on that subdomain. And then that way they're logging into their own system on their own website.
Right.
And that's how
good.
they're accessing it. And
sounds
they're paying you. So you put the install inside your Easy One account. You sell them the package. You set it up. You hand them their login information on their own website, and they get addicted to it. And if they stop paying you, you shut it down.
That brings up.
You hit the
Sorry.
stop button.
Yeah. That brings up a question. 2 days ago on the webinar, I put in a question AI told me to ask, and it was, if the customer stops using the service, say we don't want it anymore, is the website theirs? Are the videos theirs? Are the images theirs?
It all goes away.
It all goes away.
They can download anything they want out of the platform.
Right.
The platform itself goes away if they
Right. No, I understand that. But they can keep the website, they can keep the images and the videos if they download.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All
yeah,
right.
anything that is created in there during their paid time, that's their property.
Okay. Thank you. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's their property. The platform and the framework is yours. You're leasing it to them.
Right. Correct.
So anything they build with it and the time they're paying you during that lease period, that's their stuff.
And who do we get a form for them to sign to understand all these terms? Do you have a person that's creating those?
I do. She's called Becky.
Oh, Oh, you use Becky for every excuse, don't you?
Oh,
At
yeah.
least she's a beautiful excuse.
She's a beautiful excuse for anything I need.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, go ahead.
John, a couple things. As we introduce this to companies, now be it right or wrong, every company just especially if they're new, they all just think they need new leads. Now, the fact that they don't know what to do with their leads and can't follow up or stories for other times.
Yeah.
What is the optimum? Because I've made a lot of money doing that. Well, I got your phone ring 100 times more than ever rang in the past, and the fact that you didn't know how to answer the phone was something we could speak about later. What is the best a blueprint to utilize this for strictly lead generation, at least in the early stages? Have you figured that part out? Let's just take something simple, a local service. I don't care if it's a roofer
Sure.
or a plumber. What's the best
Yeah.
way? Because if you still have to run ads, which I imagine we may or may not in that particular case. But if I'm not mistaken, did David said he doesn't suggest us using this to actually run the ads? Is that correct? So,
Correct.
so what's
Correct.
the best way to utilize this platform to generate people leads? Because after that, it's all,
Yeah.
game over.
Yeah.
If I get your phone to ring 10, 20, 50, 100 times more a month, it's game over right there. And then we
Yeah.
can implement all the other things. So what's some of your
So,
thoughts on that?
so I saw him do a demo. Actually, when he demoed it for me, that's what he was doing. He was showing me how to use it for lead gen.
Okay.
And, I wasn't, when he said that, I'm just thinking, oh, yeah, another lead gen tool. Like, all right, let me see. But as I was watching him do it, I'm like, holy shit, this is agentic AI. This is what I've been looking for. But his process to generate the leads was he had it connected to an Apollo account. Are you familiar with that?
Sure, sure. Delete the company information site. Okay.
Yeah, so he connected it to Apollo, and then he said, I want you to generate highly prospective leads in Apollo using Apollo for a certain neighborhood, for a certain product.
Hmm.
And he said, I want 100 of them. And then he set that thing in motion to go to work. And then he moved on to the next thing he demoed for me, which was setting up a thing to take the lead that Apollo gives you. You take that lead and then you go research that person on social media and you connect to them.
Hmm.
And then you start following them and seeing what they're interested in. And then you reach out with an email based on a recent post they've made and you reference what was in their post.
Okay.
He said that's how you make the initial connection with them. So it's no longer a cold lead.
I understand.
It's somebody that's
And then
following you.
for example, email platforms and things like that, is that something, once again, you're leaving up to Becky to identify and find, or what would you use for the cold email platform, for example?
So I don't remember offhand what he used, but he had one that he was using for this purpose.
Okay.
And I can find out what it was from him. In fact, if you want, I can have him do like a tutorial training video for lead gen because he's got a lot of experience with lead gen.
Yeah,
He
because I
uses,
remember his old platform. He was
yeah,
having to go. I'm just saying. I think for all of us, when it comes to new customers, a way to do that would be as they stated, just to
yeah,
turn around.
yeah. He just
Yeah,
reached
that
out to
would be
me.
great.
Yeah, he just reached out to me this morning wanting a testimonial. So I'll reach back and say, yeah, I want a tutorial. We'll trade.
And John, on another note, as we wrap our arms around the importance of again educating at least the chief of staff,
Huh?
is it, once you pass her, is it important? I mean, it might be fun. I'm not taking the fun away from this. However, is it important to do the same with all the sub staff, or really just with the chief of staff? In other words,
I
your laborers, can we just put chains around their ankle and go to work and don't
Yeah,
care?
I don't really ever really plan on speaking to any of the agents outside of Becky or
Got
who I need to speak to.
it. Okay.
Like I said, occasionally I'll need to interact with Delilah because she's the project manager and she'll need something from me.
But how important is the interaction you've had with Becky? She knows you, you know her. She's 6'2". She likes spaghetti. I'm kidding. You have a pretty in-depth relationship as far as about each other. But is it as important, or must you do that with the other departments? Or can you
I
just
don't,
slap a chain around their ankle and go build me a website type of thing?
yeah, I don't even really know that it was necessary for me to do it with her. I just had fun doing
Okay,
it. So,
right.
but
Well, it can't hurt, right?
no, I mean if you're because I was basically training her to be the front end to be personable to my customers. So
Right,
I needed her to be humanized.
right. Which is
Yep.
my ambition. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
But I don't have that need with any of the other angels, so I haven't done any of that with any of
Okay,
them.
got it. That was my question.
All I did was I just created, a pretty picture of them because they're represented on the website, but there's no plan really of having them have any interaction with customers.
With
So
customers. And then lastly, on that note, have you put any thought into the idea of recreating yourself? Let's go bananas here. I mean, would you trying to say, Becky's your voice plate, but I know you've done a couple audios or webinars. Are you going to plan on taking
yeah.
that any further?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, the entire Act 2.0 training is going to be Becky and my clone working together to do the training.
Got you. Okay.
And now that you say, the other agents, I do have a couple other agents that may come out of the shadows, like Sophia, the SEO agent. I may have her do an SEO training.
Okay.
So at that point, I'll have to work on her to make sure she's personalized and humanized and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But although other like the worker bees, I don't see any reason to.
Now you bring up an interesting point because my experience even prior to this was my understanding is, a hammer in my hand, I'd break my thumb, and a hammer in your hand, you build $1 million home. Basically, same tools as far as the long language models, be it 11 labs and so on and so forth. Yet 9 out of 10 of them suck. Like you
Yeah.
can't even have a conversation. So that's almost in itself an art in itself how to teach them to humanize them. Would you agree?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
like even Becky's voice, that voice is not a pre-programmed voice. That's a voice that I worked with the AI to create.
okay.
And I spent probably a half a day going back and forth to build that voice.
Because I
We,
saw a few in the auto industry where, again, the bot doesn't sound too bad, but then as soon as you sort of step on their voice, it short circuits or it goes back to the original statement. There's no conversation. It's annoying, actually. It's very,
yeah.
very annoying. And when you can solve that, that's going to be a big factor in it. Like I said, I think I told you last when we played with this a while back with a make pretend real estate company. The agent was good, because I had friends that are jerks trying to pick her up, and can I take you out to dinner? And I'd like to buy a house, but I'm watching the game tonight, and she'd say, "Oh, you're watching a soccer game?" But it took a lot of work to do that, but the conversation flowed a heck of a lot more better.
Yeah.
There was you could stay on the phone with somebody like that. The other ones, when they short circuit, it's just annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's like my Becky bot that's, over on the Acquisition Air site. She's flirtatious, she's selling stuff,
right.
you know? So, but she's not voice, it's just text. She's texting back and forth.
Is your ambition to get it to voice?
Oh, absolutely. I've been talking to Frank about that, and it's interesting because they're really doing a lot of the updates and stuff based on my terrorist demands.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
which
because
is really
most of these
cool.
guys that sell this, they're really just selling chat bots, typing chat bots, so
Yeah.
to speak, right? That's a lot of the emphasis there. Is it because the voice just isn't there yet, John?
It's not the voice isn't, it's just the whole mechanism
The mechanism. Okay.
of speed.
Hmm.
It's the speed, because in a conversation, you're talking in real time.
Right.
And these bots have to contemplate and, I mean, they're pretty quick, but you're having to take that and compress it down into an instant answer and verbalize it.
Right.
So it's not an easy task,
No, it's not. It's not. Got
but
it.
it's coming, it's definitely coming. The
Cool.
other thing is cost. The power right now, it's like anything. It's like when personal computers first came out, you were paying $400 a, a, a megabyte for RAM, and now you can buy gigabytes for $20.
You bring up an interesting point. We were talking about that this morning. one of the X factors is, well, what's this going to cost? I don't know. Like, you don't know. I mean, is it
Yeah.
is it $200 in credits or $2,000 in credits? Because you could go off the rails. How do you control if you bring this to a company? What's your thoughts on how you're going to charge them with regards to credit usage? How would you do that? It's an
Um,
interesting thought, right? I mean, because they could go bananas, and if you put it in a fee, you're charging them X, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 a month, and you wake up and they spent 9,000 on the 10,000 on credits. How do you control
yeah.
that?
Well, I haven't played around with this yet, but if you have access to the Sorcerer Air down here in the bottom, there's a thing called voice agents,
Hmm.
and you connect this through Twilio to give your voice or your agent a phone number.
Okay.
And I have not played with this yet. I think Kevin Connell was going to play with us and come back to me. I haven't heard back yet. But you create a voice agent here. And then like I could create Becky, give her a phone number, and then she could call you.
Okay.
I just don't know what the interaction is going to be like.
Right. Okay.
We do have that already built into Sorcerer. I had hoped Sorcerer would be my agentic platform, but it just wound up not being that.
Okay.
I really had high hopes of this being one thing that did it all. But what I'm finding is the real skill here, the real power in Sorcerer is the graphics.
Okay.
I mean,
Because I know you were leaning heavy on this to be the answer, but it just, hey, listen, it's
yeah,
not easy. It's a big task what you're asking to put here.
yeah. And when I saw what David and Frank were doing, I'm like, okay, I need to get on what actually is going to be the best thing. And that was far ahead of what we were developing here.
But John, circling back to the price, so let's say you white labeled for ABC Co. Okay, and you gave them whatever, you gave them a standard package, 10 bots, whatever. But company A might make it's sort of like a gym membership to somebody who never goes to the gym, and then you might have somebody that lives in the gym all day long. How do you think you'd play with the whole credit usage part of it? Because
Well, like,
company A might use it 2 minutes and company B might use it 24 hours a day. How would
yeah,
you?
yeah. Like in Sorcerer, the way we manage the credits in Sorcerer is you pretty much get unlimited text credit.
Okay,
Like if you're just doing text-based stuff in there, you're not getting charged on the credits. And this is the same thing in Quantum. We don't charge any credits on, 90% of the tools in Quantum. And like you said, some people don't use it at all, some people overuse it. It all just kind of comes clean in the wash.
okay.
But that goes off the rails real fast when you're talking about video and images.
Images. And then even easy when it starts going into chat, if it goes to chat for this task and so on and so forth, they'll be burning up credits there too, right?
Yeah, but with easy, what you can do is you can split the routing.
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to make sure your agent has the most optimized routing of different LLMs for different processes.
Hmm.
Like you don't want her using expensive LLMs to do simple tasks.
Right. But even if it was inexpensive, we're going through that this morning, but even if it was inexpensive, it's still a little bit of, I don't know, is it 300 bucks a month or is it 500 bucks a month or is it a
Well,
thousand?
that's why you connect it to an account. That's why you connect it to a subscription,
Okay.
because in the subscription, they're not really metering you by credits. They will have a cooldown period. Like
Hmm.
if you overuse it, just like in Quantum, if you overuse the image tool, it basically gives you a cooldown period.
Okay.
It says, okay, you kind of used your allotment for today. Come back tomorrow and start over.
Okay.
But that's the same thing over there when you're using a subscription. If you have $100 a month subscription to, one of these outfits, that should give you quite a bit,
Okay.
but it's blocked in hours.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you kind of looked under the hood in there and seen what what that really looks like, but if you go into your dashboard, you can see like this is my chat GPT. If I click on that, I'll see in the last 5 hours, I've used 4% of what they're allotting me in that subscription.
Okay.
So they're monitoring it by 5 hour blocks and then also by the week. So in this week, I've used 10%.
Okay.
It says it resets in 4 days or it resets in 2 hours. So you
Got
can
it.
kind of see where you're at with your usage in your subscription, knowing that at the end of that 2 hour period, I'm going to get this 100% again.
Got you. Okay.
And same thing like with the llama, it keeps track of the tokens by 24 hour and 7 days. So you know where you're at. But that's really cool that that's right at your disposal here in the dashboard. So you can see it.
And if somebody were to white label, I guess it would be similar. Would you give this access, that metered access to your client, I guess?
Yes, because your client's hooking up their AI account.
Right. Okay.
So they would have access to the exact same control panel. The only difference is they would not get access to the back end. Like they
Hmm.
would not get access to this. This is your dashboard where you can create a new install. And then to white label it, you just come down here, you click on the button. I put in becky.internetdominators.com. So when I'm on my install, you'll see I'm on becky.internetdominators.com is where I'm doing my work.
Okay.
So this is like what you would give them. You would give them this install where they do their work. They never see your dashboard.
Hmm.
And this is where you can hit the stop button if they stop paying.
Stop paying. Okay.
It doesn't delete the account, it just eliminates their access.
Okay.
So this is like taking away their air.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah.
They're going to be like gasping like a fish out of water real quick as soon as you hit that stop button.
The old blue magic. Blue magic. You got to get them hooked first.
Yep. Yep. So this is perfect to sell to clients because they never see the easy one. They never see this back end. All they see is their dashboard on their own website that you just made for them.
Okay.
So
Are
they,
there any circumstance? I know you wouldn't because I understand your ultimate goal, but I could almost see this as a pretty high ticket item if you
oh
built this
yeah.
for a company and you
Oh yeah.
sort of ran it for them. If you didn't mind putting the time or work or sub bots to even run. Like, I have a couple builders already talking to me. Like, what can you do for me? I mean, I
Yeah.
can pretty much do anything for you. What do you want done? And but they may not be capable of utilizing it. That's that old adage: buying them a gym membership if they don't use it, who cares? So it might be
Yeah.
worth, because we were talking to some realtors that these guys are building homes and flipping them, and the idea that I'm going to do maybe not big. He's doing $7 million homes this year. Okay, maybe he's not giant, but that's not tinsel either. And he says,
Yeah.
geez, I'm paying 50,000, 60,000 times seven, $420,000 a year just in real estate commissions. With AI, why wouldn't I build my own sales rep and market it myself? And that's I could take a nice little bite out of that 420, save him money, but he wouldn't be capable of running it. I could tell you that right now. So
Yeah.
I'd probably have to build it that way. But I'd make it a high ticket item on my side.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is high ticket.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that we got a hold of it first is just a gift.
right.
This is just an absolute gift dropped in our lap. Like, can you imagine like having a little guy have access to this? It's just not right.
No,
But that's where we are. It's just like crypto. Normally the financial world would not allow us access to the golden goose, but we got
right.
there first.
Hmm.
We were aggressive, we were on the front end, we're innovative, and we got there first.
That golden goose is giving me chest pains, but I get it. I understand.
And the fact that they don't like it doesn't matter.
Right. Okay.
A few people, always in any technological boom, a few people get to take advantage of the free ride.
So you're saying this is not, sometimes when we get on these things, I'm always thinking small, regional, but I mean, if you had some significant players, this is it. This is good enough for the big guys too, you're saying, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is cutting edge agentic AI.
Okay.
This is ahead of what they're used to. Like they can get agentic AI from Perplexity or Claude, they can do co-work, they can do any of that stuff, but it's not like what this is.
Okay.
They're
And
not.
if I were to ask you, well, what do you mean by that, John? How would you answer? Because I was asked that. Well, what do you mean? Because the funny part about I did that in a little speak. The term AI is very broad based. It's like the word transportation. Is it rollerblades or rocket ships? Transportation, rollerblades, rocket AI. Well, you talk here. Oh, everybody's got AI. Everybody's using AI. But how would you in a 30-second, how would you answer? Well, we already use blah blah blah. We have agentic AI. How does this, in your just from your words of wisdom, how would you how would you come back at that? How does this differ?
Yeah, they probably have a chat bot, is what they.
Right, a glorified search engine. Right.
Yeah,
A
like
Manus or a Claude or a ChatGPT. That's not AI, right?
no,
I wouldn't. Yeah.
no, that's a chat bot.
Right. Okay.
But with this, you're actually building a team of specialized agents that work together.
Mhm.
That's a whole different thing than
Whole different
ChatGPT.
ballgame. Right.
And that in itself, just saying it in that way, that's like that should snap their head like, oh, what?
And I've done that a few times. In other words, when you leave ChatGPT, you're typing and it's working and it's magnificent, it gives you all your answers, but you stop typing, you leave the room, it's not working for you.
No.
It's it's like I said, it's a glorified search engine in many ways. But this, you have, like you said, a team of specialists working with each other 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
And at your command to do whatever you want.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. All right, we'll hit Allie here, and then I gotta wrap it up. I gotta get ready for the crypto call.
Oh boy. Oh my gosh. Back to
That's
back.
coming up.
Tom brought up a thought for me. When you onboard, if you have white label and you have a bigger company, like you were saying, John, and you were saying start out with three and give your like top, maybe your top shelf people, three install accounts. Would each of those people need their own AI subscriptions, or do companies have like company subscriptions? Like
They
how would you be able to
they
suss that out?
the company would probably have an enterprise subscription that they could all share.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just share, a company-wide subscription. I don't think they would need an individual subscription for each employee. So, all right, guys. Well, that is it for this week. We're going to wrap it up and we'll be back regular time next week. Have a good week and we'll see you then.
All